Welcome back to Growing a Deeply Rooted Business, the podcast where intentional strategy meets sustainable systems.
We're so glad you're here. I'm Jess, your systems architect and Notion obsessed strategist who truly believes that systems are self care.
And I'm Rachel, your email marketing mastermind. I'm all about building marketing ecosystems that actually work with the intentional strategy and, you guessed it, all things email at the heart of it.
Together, we're on a mission to help women entrepreneurs like you build businesses that are both profitable and purpose driven. We know you want success, but not at the cost of your health, relationships, or personal joy.
Exactly. And that's why every episode we're diving into intentional marketing strategies, sustainable systems, and a really good launch strategy that doesn't leave you burned out.
Whether you're refining your operations, planning your next launch, or figuring out how to make your marketing work smarter, not harder, we've got you covered.
So grab your favorite drink, get cozy, and let's grow something deeply rooted together. We're doing something a little different. We're going to be calling out all of that content advice that sounds good on paper, but really quietly kind of sabotages online businesses, people that are coaches, course providers, anybody that has services and like maybe live in that kind of like hybrid program slash hands-on supports area. It's going to be pretty much that anybody that's not an influencer is who we're talking to today. And this isn't going to be about like what's wrong with you and like your system. It's really about the advice that was never designed to help us as service providers and coaches and all of the non-influencers of the online space sell through trust. It's really going to, break all of those key pieces down.
Yeah, I mean, and the reality is that an influencer in businesses like you and ours and the clients that we work with, they have two different goals. Like influencers' goals are to monetize attention because the more views they get, the more engagement they get, the better brand deals they can get. They can get sponsorships. Like they are monetizing attention or it might be for beginning stage marketers. We're just trying to build an audience, which that is kind of crucial. It's not for someone that's like more established, trying to like kind of move into that course creation coaching world, trying to like fill up their services and other like service containers and packages, because the buying decision is going to be super different for the people you're trying to attract. You have a different goal than what these influencers are going to do.
Exactly. So we're going to go through the 5 beliefs that are probably like, I think in most people's minds, like logically feel like quote unquote, like best practices. And maybe these are things that you've tried to do or are kind of like kicking yourself for not doing sooner in your business. But we're going to talk about like what actually works instead for our types of businesses.
Yeah, and I kind of feel a little spicy with this episode because there are definitely some controversial hot takes and some takes that I know directly oppose some of the advice that I see, like, I don't want to say like our competitors, but like people in our area giving. And I'm like, is that really true? We don't want to do that. So let's get into the first one.
Yeah. So, first myth is, or what you would see online is to post like an influencer. I think this means like your content, like you really have to be like sharing your morning routine. You have to be sharing, doing the dancing reels on Instagram and on TikTok and all of those various components. And it really should tie in a personal brand, which I typically kind of oppose, not like oppose in, well, maybe I oppose for my own self but like some people have really strong personal brands. It's not always for everybody that they want to be the face of their business and put that type of energy out there. So I think that it really is one of those things that you have to understand that this doesn't work for service providers because we're not here to monetize the attention like Jess says. Like influencers, their business model is truly eyeballs, right? I'm actually reading this really wonderful book from the Doers Book Club called 4,000 Weeks. And it was really like, I'm in this space. And they had brought up how, like, your attention of social platforms and like, you are not the customer of the social platform. The customer of the social platform is the advertisers. So you are the tool that they use to generate more revenue. And so when you think about those key components, like your attention it's valuable. Side tangent of that because there's just a little aha that came from it the other
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, I think like you just have to keep in mind that like your goal as a service provider, as a coach is completely different than an influencer. Like, yes, we want to be relatable. We want to stand like we want our business to stand for values. But when you put so much effort, I've seen it happen into building a personal brand and then you start to expand and maybe you're a dietitian and you start to bring on other practitioners who work under you. If you built this like super strong personal brand around you will get pushback from potential clients because they want to work with you. So you really need to be building up like the relatable business brand that's going to make it easier if you want to sell your business down the road, if you want to do continue to expand. And the truth is you don't need a million followers like an influencer. You only need enough people that trust you, that, understand your framework, that believe that your business can provide what they are looking for to buy from you. So you're not building a fan base, you're going to be nurturing future clients and students. That is like the shift in your content.
Actually, literally just had a conversation with somebody about this because I'm hearing so many people in the online space that are saying, like, yeah, I have an email list. And their problem, and it directly ties back to this type of strategy, is that they say, okay, I have great open rates, but when I go to sell something or when I go to sell my service, like my click through rates is like nothing. And this comes from having that kind of like follower influencer mentality versus having a qualified lead generation system in your business. And so social is fine to like maybe live in that space, but like really developing content that can speak to a specific person with a specific problem that bridges to your offers product suite is gonna what it's gonna like disappear those crickets from like when you hit send on something or when you post something about a service that it's not gonna be not necessarily, like, unwelcomed, but it's gonna be more received well versus kinda like, "Oh, cool. What's your morning routine?" Like, we don't want that energy. We want to hone in on how you truly are the authority to solve this problem.
Yeah, yeah. You really need to make the shift from like you are not trying to be the entertainer, you're trying to be like that trusted guide that's going to help them solve the problem. I'll give an example here because like I Threads is like if you follow me on Threads, there is no content strategy on there. Like like that is like me, like, word vomit, and I get lots of likes and follows, but, like, these people are not gonna buy from me. Like, I had a post that, like, went pretty viral when I posted about the situation that happened in Minnesota, but the people that followed me from that were not following me because they want me to build them a Notion system in their business. They were following me because they align kind of with the values of that. So it's like there's a difference between getting attention and, like, I know I'm consciously using threads like that and getting people that are actually gonna be, like, your future customers.
Yeah. Alright, so then let's get into myth number 2, which, oh, this one kills me because so many people pump money into trying to do this versus what we were just talking about, which is developing a true, like, lead generation system, and that is trying to go viral. And I know there are social media experts on the online space that will tell you, like, that's not the purpose of what we do. That's just what people think is that shiny object and all of those things. But it's like they think that business owners or whoever's trying to like just kind of get that fast track is like they're trying to just crack the code. What's that hook? What's the audio? Like, what's the perfect posting time? And they think that, like, if they go viral, that buyers will flood in. But like Jess just said in her like, in the case of, like, that post, it's, yeah, gonna get you more eyeballs, but, like, does it actually bring in more people who are like, gonna convert into your funnel and do all of those different things? So, while viral content is good, kind of, sometimes if you do it intentionally, it's not optimized for conversion, which I think is what if we're really trying to build systems that are taking us into more intentional marketing, the goal isn't to go viral, it's to optimize for conversion.
Yeah, or it's to go viral with, like, the right people kind of thing. I almost see it as, like, when people, like, I don't know if they I mean, maybe they don't do it. I know my clients don't do it. But, like, just creating freebies that are, like, good freebies, but they're just attracting, like, free like, sometimes meal plans work, but I feel like when my dietitians, like, create meal plan after meal plan freebie, I'm like, that's never gonna, like, convert into You're gonna get a lot of people to opt into your email list, but they're not buyers. You don't want those people. So
Dietitian I have worked with, I've killed that lead magnet. I'm like, "Nope, we're not doing it anymore," because
I mean, sometimes I'll angle it if it can be like if they have a gut health program and this is like a gut healing meal plan, but still it's not doing anything to establish yourself as like the expert at all. You need to have other things like backed up behind it to do that work.
yeah, and I mean, even, like, just like you had said, like, viral on social, but also people do create these type of, like, viral lead magnets that are doing nothing for your lead generation and for your conversion, and, like, I think I just posted a reel about this where your lead magnet should act as a filter. From your followers, it should be calling out your leads. It shouldn't just be saying, "Hey, followers, come over here and follow me," because, like, what's the point of that?
Yeah. Okay. So now we're going to get into the spicy one because this is the one that I would like die on a hill oppose people for. And it's advice that like sounds cool and logical and like very appealing, but it is like so reckless and not setting your business up for sustainability because if you use this strategy, you are building your business on rented land. And that is trying to use social for every part of your funnel, which includes selling from the DMs.
Yeah, and, like, this is literally expecting your social to be, like and the end all be all of your entire marketing, and, like, if you think about it, like, it should truly just be that awareness and, like, welcome party. It should be where they connect with you, where you really can kind of, like, show them your authority and, like, your lighter side. Like, you don't really wanna have those deep sales call conversations on a post, and, like, the way I always explain it to people is like, when somebody's coming into your space, let's just say bad timing, they show up in the middle of a launch and you're like, bam, 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 all of these different posts about all of these different products, and they have not had that time to like incubate into your space. That's only going to prolong that need to be nurtured versus if they come into your space and then you give them a breadcrumb that's like, hey, if you're interested in this or if you have this problem, come over here. And then we're going to take it nice and slow and intentional over here versus sell this, buy this, do this, da 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 da. Da. And it's like in stories on your page and all of those different things. Like, and then when you have multiple offers too, oh my God, it's so much more pressure and so much more like chaotic for not only your sales goals, but also just your client experience or your lead experience coming into your space like that. So I definitely tell every single person that you're making it so much harder on yourself when you are just using social as every single component. And those people that say, sell in the DMs and sell in the DMs, like that's never gonna be like how do I wanna say this? Because I wanna make sure it makes the most sense. You can still sell in the DMs and that not be your entire strategy. Make it an occasion, not an all the time thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's part of like a bigger system. Yes, during launches, do I have my clients like message, hot leads or people that have engaged with before? Absolutely, but it is not our only tool that we are using. Not only that, but like the algorithm hates selling. It will suppress anything that even sounds like you're selling. Anytime my clients have launch posts, they get way less views than normal because the platform doesn't want, like, going back to what you said about, like, we are not the client or whatever, the platform doesn't want people clicking off the platform because they get paid more by the advertisers, the more people that are on the platform, the longer they're using the platform. So us, like, trying to use that to, like, sell, it's gonna be so hard to get them to sell from that way. Anyway.
Yeah, and I will say one more thing, just because it's an email marketing topic that I just think it's so if you're sitting here as a solopreneur thinking, I want to be able to convert more and I want to be able to have more effective sales systems in my business, I want you to think back to the, like maybe the 5, 10 DM conversations you had. There's a pattern. The person's asking you a very similar question. The next question that follows is this, the aha moment that is this. There is something that like is so manual in you having to give your best response every single time. And sure, you can save those responses, but here's what you can also do is say, I actually have a resource that answers all of this. And then your nurture sequence follows the same cadence of those converting conversations that one removes you from the conversation because now automated. It can, when you're on vacation, when you're having to, in my case, take your son to the doctor's office and you can't answer your phone for 12 hours, you literally cannot have to be like, oh, I didn't respond to that person. I might lose that sale. No, you're working smarter over here and your inbox is delivering that optimized conversation constantly over and over and over without you in it. So you just want to think through if you are on that verge of like needing more capacity, do these conversations that feel endless and so repetitive, is it actually serving you or can you create a system that flows it properly?
Yeah, this might take us on a like side tangent, but like this, like, how does like mini chat for you work into all of this? Like, what would your advice be for that?
I think ManyChat is super effective for growing email lists and for doing that exact same purchase or, kind of like purchase flow. I just think people don't want to talk to a robot. And like that's my response too is like when I'm like, "Oh, I wanna know this," or, "Oh, I" when they're like, "Comment this for this," and I'm like, I know I'm gonna get it instantly, which is what your welcome sequence is, like, you can craft I've seen really impressive automations inside of ManyChat that do the exact same thing as a nurture sequence and keeps you on social, but I still think that there's a lot of distrust in it because the person is talking to a robot and they know they're talking to a robot, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it just doesn't feel like social media is supposed to be social. I'm here to talk to you. I don't want to talk to the robot. Where I guess email, like it is coming from, it feels different. It's still coming from you. It's
Yeah.
not like an automated, I mean, I guess it is automated response. I don't know. I hate mini chat. I think mini chat is like the death of Instagram.
I love reading comments, like, I wanna know what everybody else
Yeah,
is
and every post is like my clients and, like, disclaimer, my clients use ManyChat. Like, when we're posting, like, we use ManyChat. It's easier to get people to sign up when we're having thousands of people, like, register for master classes, but it's sprinkled. It's not like every single post has a trigger word. I think that's where, like, it just becomes, like, too much, not authentic, because you're trying to sell from the DMs every single time.
exactly, and I think people know that too, but yeah.
All right. Number 4, which is just be consistent, which is great. You do need to be consistent, but consistency without a strategy or the wrong strategy is just going to dig you into a hole faster, or you're going to dig you into a hole to nowhere, basically.
Exactly, yeah, and I mean, I saw this one person's hook the other day that said, like, she had posted over 100 trial reels and grew her account to this or to that kind of thing, and, like, oh my gosh, just the idea of posting that many or creating that many content pieces because Instagram now is stopping duplicate, like, you can't just, like, repost it. It really is just one of those things that, like, if you're doing the wrong thing, but you're doing a bunch of the wrong thing, like a lot of that tasks, it's really just like depleting your overall capacity. And like, I think we did something in like the Rooted in Reality business planner. We were like saying, like, you don't want to just keep doing stuff that's not working. Like, you want to have like true data. And so, if you have sat down and, like, you've done your lead source, like, audit, and you said, "I was so consistent. I posted for 90 days straight," and you look at your little lead source audit, and there's, like, 2 leads that came in from Instagram, like, that is your evidence that consistency is not helping you there because it's not tied to a business goal that's actually going to, like, move the needle somewhere. So, consistency in the wrong thing, not a great strategy.
Bad strategy. I mean, I definitely go in, and I'm not calling you out because, this was in yours, but this was in mine too. But like when I go into people's notions and their content ideas, they have like 800 content ideas just drop there. The other day, I just deleted all my ideas because I'm like, okay, one, I trust myself. If I had this idea, it's going to come back. But two, like trying to find the idea to connect to the strategy of what I'm selling right now is going to take me way longer than just like coming up with a whole new thing. Or I can remember when I was like a baby business owner and like swipe files were like a big thing. And it was like swipe my like 365 days of Instagram post. And it's like, that's not going to work for you.
Literally, that's what I think about with templates too. I
Not
mean, it's
your strategy at all. Yeah, like I used to like I mean, I do like a template. I do like a template, but like everything has to be like so like customized to you. Like even I'm setting up Rachel's Notion right now. She had a beautiful template. But like if it's not built for you, you just kind of end up with like a bunch of pages that you're not going to be using. And it's just creating more noise and more like friction to what you're doing. So I think that's like when we talk about deeply rooted business and intentionality in business, it's like the strategy, the planning, and that's why we like have a whole pillar that we go in tangents for months about is so important because that's how you're going to build like sustainability, have less mental overwhelm, all of the things.
yeah, and I'm gonna say one more thing on this, just because. Well, and I'll put it in like a in the case of my like latest client from an email essential. So her biggest problem was that she couldn't get consistent with her email list, and like Jess said, like kind of like finding whatever that like framework was that was sold to you that you thought that if you just implemented this that it would like change your whole life. And so she had tried plenty of that. She had downloaded all of those different templates and stuff. And so part of the essential strategy that I give you is that it is essentially a like nuanced welcome sequence. It is taking, here are the things that we need to say in the order that we need to say it. And then here's what you say afterward. Like, here's your newsletter strategy. And I will tell you, her biggest thing was like, I'm just so worried I'm not going to be able to write my emails. I'm so worried I'm not going to be able to like, she's like, once you leave, I'm not going to be able to do this. And like, it's going to be a problem. And she cranked out her welcome sequence and her next like couple of emails so quickly because it was made for her. And like I think that's the key here is like when you find something that is designed or like makes sense in your brain, it's so much easier. So this is just my plea to stop looking templates and like stop downloading things that are not niched into your nuance a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and I think it's like we all want like that quick fix, like download my 5 hooks to get your next 10 customers next. Like we want that quick fix, but like in reality, what's going to work for you, it's going to take like practice and reps. Like you're going to do it and like every system I have that works for me, it's because I'm constantly tweaking it, constantly updating it. It's evolving like with me. And then if I like don't do it for a while, like I'll fall off because I need to like keep tweaking it and growing with me. But nobody's going to be able to come into my business and just like take my system and drop it like right into their business. They can take some of the principles, some of the frameworks, some of that, but like you've got to build it yourself. And that takes a little bit more time in the like beginning. So maybe you won't be consistent. Maybe like post twice a week for a little while you're getting your system up and going, but like you're going to get it faster every single time. And you'll eventually be able to work up to like 3 posts, 5 posts, 7 posts a week if you want to. Okay, the next one is just repurposing everywhere for the same thing everywhere without like acknowledging the different like platforms. Like we are definitely fans of repurposing. We have repurposed this podcast all over the place. Definitely helped get more eyeballs and increased our views, increased our listenerships, downloads, all the things. But you have to be really, really careful because you can't just like copy and paste because it won't work. No, number one, like every platform has different like characters and all of that stuff. So you're going to have to do that. But also there's different context and like what you're using that platform for. Like Threads for me, like my goal on Threads is like, I just want to meet like other cool business owners, maybe that like I vibe with. I don't think anyone that's over there, Rachel's laughing as I bring up Threads, but like is going to buy for me. Instagram, I don't think I mean, I may have had like 2 or 3 customers. They weren't very high quality clients either come from Instagram, but like Instagram is like directly from Instagram. The people that come from me are like referrals or people that have been in my like ecosystem for a while. So yeah, I think it's like really important to like define like what you want that platform to do for you and then build your repurposing strategy around that. And then you can use all the cool tools like AI and all of that to like craft your stuff and make it happen faster. But you have to first start by defining what you want those platforms to do for you. All right. So we're going really, really long. We're at 27 minutes. We never do an episode this long. But we did want to say that next week we're going to be like, we've told you a bunch of things that worked and didn't work. And I know we tried to like tell you the shifts of what to do, but we want to also like give you like kind of our framework and the system, a sneak peek into that. So make sure you tune in next week for that. But repurposing all of the stuff that we've talked about, like part of building the system is the strategy behind it. And the strategy is picking like what your anchor content or what your content focus needs to be for that month, that quarter, or whatever it needs to be. So we do have a really cool new lead magnet that we just created called Creating Content That Compounds, I think. And this is going to take you through your content planning process, because I think like the root cause of all of the issues that we went through in this episode today is not having a solid content strategy that is tied to your business goals. So in this lead magnet, we're going to walk you through how to choose your anchor content that you can like repurpose from, like what how to put together that strategy so that you're not sitting down looking at like a blank page every time you go to create content, and that you're kind of creating content with intention, and you're creating content that is like evergreen and that it's going to keep paying you like long after your Instagram post that you took an hour on like goes dead.
So let's just do a recap of some of those key pieces of advice that maybe Jess and I wouldn't recommend and kind of like how to shift out of those. So the advice number one would be posting like an influencer. Yes, you do want to be able to get eyeballs and do all of those things, but we have to acknowledge the difference between the business strategies here. Influencers monetize attention. We are monetizing products and services here. So we want to make sure that we're not just building a fan base, that we are really kind of nurturing future clients and all of those components. Advice number two, and it is that ultimate goal of trying to go viral. There is no code to crack, especially not in the sense of being able to really hone it in on leads specifically, because we want to be able to make sure that our lists and our systems are optimized to for conversion and for driving people into a space that is going to ultimately nurture and convert them. So do not try to go viral. Really just try to kind of get consistent in those areas where you know your actual like audience is going to be. Build trust in those areas and really know that like the people that are going viral are having to do so much cleanup in their audience, and it's not worthy of our time. So thing that we're seeing number three is using social for every part of your funnel. And that includes, you know, selling from the feed, selling in the DMs, selling in your stories. And we have to understand that social is a rented space and it's so chaotic when you're using it for all layers of your funnel. So if we can remove some of that pressure and ultimately optimize your ecosystem a little bit more and kind of drive people from top of funnel, which is social, is that visibility, and drive them closer to that point of conversion off of the platform, whether that be your email list, your lead magnet, or wherever the case may be. It's something else that you can control and kind of curate the experience a little bit more. Then that brings us to consistency, and not just consistent with the wrong things, but really making sure that the strategy itself is rooted with intention and then being intentionally consistent with that strategy. So you're not wasting your time and kind of like spinning your wheels doing all of the wrong things. If you are struggling with, hey, I've been consistent for this long, but I'm not seeing any results, I highly recommend doing that lead source audit that we have in the Rooted in Reality business planner. It's so great to have that visibility. Yeah. So really making sure that you can kind of have visibility on all of those various components. And then lastly is repurposing. Don't just be lazy in your repurposing and kind of just posting the same thing everywhere. Understand that the different platforms have different context and expectations and algorithms that ultimately run it. So you want to make sure that you're being really intentional and like repurposing strategically into those various platforms so that they're ultimately driving towards a goal here. Whew. All right.
That was a lot. This was definitely a meaty episode, but we want you to be able to take action. So make sure that you grab our Creating Content That Compounds guide. The link will be in the show notes. If this episode made something click, or if you know another person who is exhausted from running on the content hamster wheel, then make sure you send this to a friend that needs to see it. Make sure that you're like, follow, subscribe. We've got lots more good advice about creating content that compounds coming your way. And
Till
till next week,
we're
we're rooting for you.